Hello, fellow crab god worshippers. Today, we're going to be talking about a man with over 140 children and 24 to 27 wives. Sources vary, but no matter which angle you look at that, that's a lot of people. And as hilarious as that sheer amount of people could sound on paper, this video might go to some dark places when you think about how this man's children and wives are affected by the situation. So before everything goes downhill at lightning speed, allow me to introduce my spanking new merch line. We got ourselves some epic tops, pure, utter gamer wear. Show your pride of being a gamer. And we still have classic items like culty blocks. And since you like raising and summoning demons with culty blocks, we made it into a sticker for a more compact way to show your religion. So yes, thank you for listening to this message. 1 Robux of every merch purchase goes towards feeding my starving dog. Anyway, so stuff's about to go south real quick as I talk about this. The man we're going to be talking about today is Winston Blackmore. Winston Blackmore is a Mormon polygamist of the Bountiful community in British Columbia. If you don't know what polygamy is the act of marrying multiple spouses. So the show Sister Wives is a popular example of polygamy, and Cody Brown, the man in this, has 4 wives, and they have 18 children, so the numbers here are much less than who we're going to be talking about in this video. And generally what Cody has done, or what the people in Sister Wives have done, are also not nearly as bad as the things Winston Blackmore has done. I thought I'd make this video because it's not a super well-known case, and I just think this should be known. I don't think it should be just brushed under the rug of obscurity. I know a lot of Canadian stories tend to be overlooked or forgotten, and I just saw this and it really rubbed me the wrong way. I really did not like seeing what I saw here. I just find the whole idea of having over 140 children and over 20 wives to be a bit neglectful, like people are not getting the proper attention or care that they need. And also, did I mention that this man had underage brides? We're gonna look into that later. So before we even get into the fact that he has been with people while they were underage, I just want to give you a feel for who Winston Blackmore has shown himself to be as a person, just to provide a little bit of a background for you guys. So to start off, the man is, how do I say it, not the brightest knife in the shed. So the video that introduced me to the Winston Blackmore situation was a video from a news company. And in this video, a trial of the legality of polygamy in Canada is ongoing. And there's an interviewer who's An interviewer is interviewing Winston Blackmore and asking him if he feels like the trial will affect him. You know, the polygamist with 149 children and over 20 wives. If the polygamy trial will affect him. And the man cannot wrap his brain around the fact that this trial will affect him.
You worry at all about the outcome of this trial, though? Because it could
actually,
be...
no, I'm not participating in it.
But it will impact you.
Well, it may.
It will.
Yeah, well, how will it? If they
uphold the law...
If they uphold the law...
You could be convicted.
Sure, I could, I guess.
Does he know what conviction means? Does he know what the law is? If polygamy is illegal in Canada and this man is a polygamist, you know, like someone who is very much so breaking the law, yes, it's gonna affect him. Anyway, sorry, I just thought that was quite the reaction to show here. Not the sharpest bulb in the shed? Yes. So as he talks about how the case won't affect him, or, you know, maybe it might affect him, he then leads into saying, you know, who's gonna pursue him? A polygamist cop?
Who's gonna start going and hunting? A polygamous cop is gonna come out and arrest me?
And then he goes on to elaborate and says that every person on Earth is a polygamist. He doesn't technically say that, but he essentially implies that every single person on Earth is someone who cheats, and, you know, he says that cheating is the same as polygamy.
I think that every police officer and every judge and every teacher and every adult should just take a look at themselves, and before they go and try to slam dunk the little polygamous communities, wherever they are, they should ask themselves, am I a polygamist? Do I have 2 ongoing relationships?
He implies that every single person on Earth is unloyal to their partner and is a polygamist at heart, so therefore polygamy should not be illegal and he should not be prosecuted.
A polygamous cop is going to come out and arrest me?
He seems so certain with his words. A polygamous cop? is going to arrest me? What? You never heard of polygamy simulator? Kill me. But yeah, he's like defending his case here with a hypothetical, you know, assuming that the cop who comes after him is gonna have 3 people on the go. Quite a man. Head empty. I'm quite surprised that he says every judge, every cop, every teacher, every adult, but he doesn't say every child. It's kind of odd considering he wasn't entirely engaged in relationships with adults exclusively. Quite odd he's making that distinction here, but okay, Winston Blackmore, we'll go with it. Now, by far, I'm about to show you the most logic-shattering argument he puts forth. The interviewer brings up the concern that, you know, if he has even, 15 wives, how many times in a month, how many nights of the month is he going to be able to see each wife individually? Because if you go on the low end with the 15 wife estimate, and you divide that up, basically it's a couple nights per wife, which is not a lot of time to spend with your husband in a month. You know, it's kind of neglectful. It's not proper affection. It's not proper love. And she brings up this concern that maybe the women may be dissatisfied with the amount of time they get to spend with him. And he says that for many women, keep that in mind, many women on earth apparently, for many women, 1 night of the month would be too many nights to see their husband. That's what he argues.
You might only see some of them 1 night in that month.
Yeah, but you know what? There's plenty of women in the world that 1 night in that month is too many.
I don't know, why he keeps pulling hypothetical people out of his lower crevice of perpetual darkness, but it's insane. I don't mean to be one of those people or one of those YouTubers who say, oh my god, guys, this is literally insane. This man is insane. And just be that kind of person, but I am completely dumbfounded by this. The man just laughs. Like, he just laughs as if he's so certain he's correct.
And there's plenty of women who would say, it's not enough, though.
Well, there is, but that's a question you should be asking them, not me.
For the women who want to spend, I don't know, more than 1 night of the month with their husband, you should ask them these questions, not me, the polygamist that you're interviewing. I agreed to this interview regarding polygamy. You shouldn't be asking me about how polygamy could affect time distribution among wives. You should go and ask those people who'd be dissatisfied with it. Like, what? You agreed to an interview. Why are you dodging the question and saying she should go hunt down these people who find 1 night of the month to be too little to spend with their partner? I don't understand. I mean, we could also just talk about the fact of how selfish this is. He obviously isn't even thinking about his wives. It's quite dehumanizing, actually, to just suggest that the time he spends with them is adequate. For each of them, they are completely content. They are completely satisfied with only getting to see him 1 or 2 nights of the month. He suggests that. He suggests that it's healthy. It doesn't matter for him, though. Why would it matter for him? He gets to see any wife he wants, anytime. There's only one of him. There are multiple wives. So you know how I mentioned earlier that there was a trial going on? Well, later in the trial, there was a piece of evidence that was brought forth that showed over 30 young girls and women being shipped between the US and Blackmore's community of Bountiful. Like, that's abhorrent. Like, these girls are being shipped to be married into polygamous marriages. And I'm sorry to take focus off of this horrible act, but I think we should just look at his response to being accused of child trafficking.
Investigate this alleged child trafficking. Will there be any ties to you?
For child trafficking?
That's what the allegations point to. Some 30 kids up until 2006.
I don't know who they would be.
Do you have any connection to that?
Child trafficking?
Yes. That's what the allegations are. Up to 30 children, underage, being sent to the US to be married.
I don't think so.
I'm not going to accuse someone of being guilty here, but I'm just gonna say that the answer is quite suspicious. Like, he asked child trafficking twice. You heard the word. You surely must know what child trafficking is. I don't get what kind of question needs to be asked about it.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. How could you not think you are involved with child trafficking? Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know that? Now, I'm not gonna make any allegations. I'm not accusing him of definitively being guilty of this. I'm just saying it is quite an answer. That's one thing I can say here. This is horrible. Now, we should also talk about the fact here, while we're on the whole topic of child trafficking, Winston Blackmore married 3 15-year-olds. I actually find this kind of interesting. In an article by the Vancouver Sun on Winston Blackmore, it says, Blackmore didn't deny that he was a polygamist. If I'm guilty of something, it's being Mormon, he said. And then this article proceeds to state that he's been involved in multiple underage relationships. So the rest of the article says, Blackmore went on to say, in our faith, so many people never ever had a chance to get married. Why that is, I don't know. To have family like I have is a huge reason for people to be jealous. He claimed that he's opposed to underage marriages. Underage marriages only began after 1998 when FLD's prophet and resident Rulon Jeffs had a stroke. His son Warren began influencing his father. All of a sudden, our president told us that we are no longer going to participate in plural marriages of people who were not 18, said Blackmore. And Blackmore says this, when I marry them, people have to prove how old they are. They need to be educated. That's what I want for my children. So, ladies and gents, boys and girls, apparently if you're educated, you are suitable for Winston Blackmore. Now, does that include a preschool education? I don't know. He just says an education, but I feel like that is very subjective, and there's no mention of technical age there. Just you have to prove how old you are based on your education. During the 2009 interview, Blackmore bragged that because of his arrest, a crew from CNN was probably on its way, and that Larry King has probably emailed a couple of times. It was on King's show in 2006 that Blackmore first said he'd married a girl who was only 15. He told King that she lied about her age, joking that that's common for women. So it's sexist too. But he said to both interviewers that the girl was 17 before she had her first child. Birth records entered Monday indicate that the wife whose parents allegedly lied and said their daughter was 17 was only 15 and a half on the wedding day, and her first child was born 16 months later. The records also indicate that another wife was 6 months shy of her 16th birthday as well. 10 months later, when she was barely 16, their first child was born. Yep, so on top of Winston Blackmore and his underage relationships and the fact that, what have I been saying in this video? Because I can't say it enough apparently. 149 children and over 20 wives. With that aside, let's just talk about how this negatively impacts the wives. Time is not divided up evenly between each wife, where they'll get to see him 2 times in a month or 1 time in a month. It doesn't work like that. One wife said that the time division breeds up jealousy.
And as one of Winston's wives told us, that breeds jealousy.
And this is because things can't be divided equally. If they were divided equally, that's a horribly low amount of time to spend with someone. When they're divided unequally, some people are getting a much larger share of time, while some may be getting no time at all. So some may not be receiving the proper feelings of love. Something that's really sad was, in an interview with one of his ex-wives, she said that she was pregnant for the 7th time, knowing she was doing it again by herself.
I was pregnant for the 7th time, knowing that I was doing this again all by myself. I wanted a relationship. And he pretty much said outright that he definitely would not work on a relationship with any one of us.
So a lot of these women had to go through pregnancies somewhat alone. They had their sister wives, but they didn't really have the support of the father. That's very disheartening. Now, we've talked about the wives, talked about Winston Blackmore, but, when you think about the children too, that's kind of sad. At that point, you're just a number. Now, the female children have different roles in the Blackmore family than the male children. The male children go to work in Winston's mill, and some people who worked in Winston's mill call it a work camp, and they worked next to nothing. Someone who worked in the mill was interviewed, and they stated that he would earn $124 Canadian every month, which, to convert it to my American viewers, because I know that's the majority of you, that's $93 each month for working pretty steadily many hours of the month in an actual physical labor situation like a mill. Now, due to the amount of boys, some of them are cast aside and they're referred to as lost boys. They're boys who fend for themselves, receive less guidance, are just generally neglected more. You know, does he even know the names of all of his children? He has over 140 children. Does he know all of their names? Does he celebrate their birthdays? I mean, I talked about the timeshare with his wives. How much time does he spend with the kids? The kids have each other, the kids have the moms, but does he even see his children as his children? Now, I know this video didn't get too in-depth, but it was a situation that I found out about. This is pretty horrible, I think. I mean, I see stuff in my subscription feed about, oh, this girl was dating 9 men, the man who had 5 girlfriends, and I'm sitting here thinking, I mean, this guy does not have the most wives in history, but this guy has, you know, some report 27, and over 140 children, so, you know, I just thought that was crazy. That's mind-blowing. So that's that. In other news, I just want to thank you guys for watching and supporting this channel. If you'd want to continue to support this channel, you guys can always go join the Discord server, follow my Instagram, or you could check out my Patreon. Choice is ultimately yours, but thank you for sticking through, being patient, and watching the video. I'd love to thank my current Patreon supporters for making these uploads possible, and I'd also love to thank the amazing fan artists. There's been so many. There's been so much good art. I love it. I wholeheartedly love it. I can't fully express this to you, and I don't want to leave like one whole minute to me rambling about fan art in a video, but like, I deeply appreciate what you guys do, and you're all so generous. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Oh, every night is like a daze, but oh, I feel embraced as I know I'm running late. Let's wait just one more day. I know I'm running away from moments. What am I becoming?